guys, welcome back to the channel. We are going into May now, so I'm just going to jump right into it. If you haven't been here before, please check out the other videos. Otherwise, let's get into it. So let's open her up. See if I could do it. Oh, I did it, yes. And turn this around, see what we have. So here is May 1st and 2nd. Okay, guys, let's go. Actually, I might pull it down just a little bit. All right, May 1st is a Friday. It says raining. Of course, we're going to start off super great. Raining a pour. Burl left here around 12:30 as she was going into Park Street Church. Mrs. Nudd got us 5 loaves of Vienna bread at 13 cents a loaf. I went over and paid 78 cents for B and got half a dozen biscuits. Good. I then went into Mrs. Cogsworth's and paid her for 1 dozen oranges, 36 cents, and took Mrs. Cogswell's pan back. Mr. Cogswell's got a new car, dark green. Mrs. Corkum got a new car, light green. Burl's dresses, too, came from dry cleaners. So she talked about this last month where like the whole month of April was pretty basic. And then at the end, she was like, oh, so-and-so got a car, so-and-so got a car. I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Cogswell got the dark car and Mrs. Corkum got the light green car. All right. Saturday, rained all night, dull this morning, which is cloudy. Sadie and Gertrude going to Melrose with the Cogswells. Back now. Talked with Burl, dull and rainy all day. 2 claps of thunder and 1 flash of lightning. Had new stewed rhubarb for supper. I'm not a rhubarb person. I did try it once at Thanksgiving one time. Wasn't for me. Sadie got her tablets from home. Rained hard during the evening and played lexicon. Okay, lots of rain. May 3rd, fine. We all went to church, good sermon. Sadie and I went with Mr. and Mrs. Corkum in the new car. Buick. Oh, a beauty, light green. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to know that it's a Buick. My mom had a Buick a long time ago, and it ran like a dream. Like, you felt like you were floating riding in that car. It was nice. Gertrude and Mrs. Hopkins went with Buddy Corkum. About 4 p.m., we 3 went for a walk. A beautiful day. At night, we heard something message. I'm not really sure. I'm going to point to it and I'm going to try to help it. I noticed the last time it was very blurry. So, okay. You see that word? About a something message from Park Street Church. Missionary and 1 speaker something. Have heard him at home on Moncton. Okay, May 4th, very fine and real warm. Oh, they're finally getting some warmth in May. They just had snow last month. Gertrude and Sadie went to Boston for the day, got home at 6:30 p.m. Okay, let's pause there. So, pardon me, when I was doing the roundup for April, remember how the furnace repairman came from Boston, and the drive time it showed me on the MapQuest was 8 hours, Boston to Moncton. But It says Sadie and Gertrude went to Boston for the day and they got home at 6:30. So I'm not sure. Maybe he really wasn't necessarily in Boston because they had called him that morning and then he finally did make it. But I can't imagine it would have been 8 hours. What do you guys think? Anyway, so I washed up all the clothes, all of my clothes, ready for home. Is she leaving? So now maybe we'll find out. Maybe where she's been writing has not been in Moncton. Interesting. Okay, so she's getting ready to go home. Talked with, it looks like Arva after 12 noon. Something to Mrs. Cogswell's to take her one court, life, and something lecture. Something to Mrs. Nudd's and paid 3 cents. Mrs. Cogswell's went into Boston. Okay, so she's getting ready to go home. All right. May 5th, rainy in the morning, cleaning in the afternoon. Gertrude, Sadie, and I were up to Mrs. Hopkins to tea and spent the evening played lexicon. Aw, that's nice. May 6th, fine and hot. Okay, we're getting into summer here. Sadie and I went to Malden shopping. Got home at 3:10 p.m. tired and hot. Yeah. Gertrude made brownies and angel food cake. Sounds like Gertrude is stress baking. I'm not sure now. I'm just kidding. Mary Maxwell here to tea and spent the evening. So it sounds like people might be, they and other people might be getting in their last visits with Moinetta. May 7th, fine in the morning, then it rained. Nelsie came about 11 for us, and we went to Newtown and picked up Burl. Then went into Boston and down to Reserve Beach or Revere Beach. I would say probably Revere. That'll be in the roundup. Then to Swampscott, where Ma had lunch that Nelsie had provided. Something Burl brought tea, ate. We got home at 3:30. Nelsie, now that's a new name. Nelsie then went to Busline for Maud, came back and we had dinner. After girls went, we went right to bed. Mrs. Pine was in. That's 2 new names. I slept good until 3:30. Then loud, I thought it said smoke. Then loud awake until 7. Then laid awake. It's like, don't mind me. Yeah, very foggy. Got 6 letters and cards. Burl brought me 1 pan of hard sugar cake and something for themselves. So when I looked up hard sugar cake, I couldn't find anything. I tried just hard sugar cake recipes or 1950s, and the closest thing I could find was the burnt sugar cake, and there were a lot of recipes for that, and that's what I added that picture in the April roundup. So if you know if that's probably what they're talking about, just pop me a line. Okay, we are on to May 8th, which is a Friday. Dull, not raining. Mrs. Nudd brought more loaves of bread and 1 pan of rolls, 36 cents for Sadie and me. Mrs. Cogswell in. I went over there and got 1 dozen oranges. Burl had radiogram from Archie. Aww. sailing for Africa. Oh my goodness, that's very exciting. I got a letter from Mrs. Ferguson, I'm not sure, saying they must have word by May 21st about giving something got saved from Francis. Oh, let me back up. I got a letter from Mrs. Ferguson saying they must have word by May 21st about going home. It looks like got saved from Francis, and she underlined each word. So I wonder if maybe, sorry, you can't see. Got saved from Francis. I wonder if she didn't have enough money, or let's read on. We were invited by Mrs. Corkum to go as her guests to a mother and daughter banquet. Lovely. Good eats. I love that saying. Got home and had call from Francis. So glad to talk with them all. Okay, very interesting. May 9th. Gertrude and Sadie went to Melrose shopping with the Cogswells. I stayed home. Then we had lunch, and in the afternoon they took us all to Mrs. Cogswell's home. It's farm, Newbury, or fam. I think it says farm. Oh my goodness. House 230 years old. Okay, because I don't do numbers. It in 1953, 53 minus 230 years. That means the house was built in 1723. Wow. Wait a minute. Now, more than likely, that house is not still standing today. Maybe. So let's see. 1953. It has been, wait a minute, 2022 minus 1953. It has been 69 years since 1953. And then let's add 230 years. If that house is still standing, it's 299 years old. So it'll be very interesting for the roundup. I'm going to see, so it's the Cogswell's family, I think it says family home in Newbury. And the house is 230 years old. So it would probably be on the historic registry if it's still around. So that could be exciting. A wonderful old place. Got home 5:30 and all hungry, all tired. Went to bed early. Card from Varma with $2. Card from Jesse and Ken. Wow. The 10th. Fine and warm. Sadie and Gertrude went to church with the Corkums. I didn't go as my head was dizzy, so knew I'd better not go. So I believe she's being treated for high blood pressure, so it's probably a good idea just to stay home. Mrs. Hopkins in for minutes. Over 80, pretty warm. Nice. Very nice. I opened my package, exclamation point, from Frances at the breakfast table. Okay. Oh, she's asking us a question. Okay, she's asking her diary. What do you suppose it was? Okay, what do we think Frances got Gertrude? So we know that Frances, we found out last month that Frances is Moinetta's daughter. I think, so she bought her a dress for Mother's Day. What would Moinetta need? Maybe she made Moinetta an apron. Let's see, a beautiful wristwatch From my dear girl Frances. Such a surprise. Oh, that's so sweet. Ah, how touching. Suffered with heat. After supper, Mrs. Corkum called for us to go over on Piazza. It was lovely and cool. Mr. and Mrs. Noble came while we were there. Yes, I suffer from the heat all the time. I live in Florida. Yes, I love that she got her mother a wristwatch. Aw, that's so sweet. All right, brought a little tear to my eye. May 11th, fine and hot. Gertrude and Sadie went to Melrose. I was over to Mrs. Nudd's a little while, then over to Mrs. Cogswell's for a few minutes. Girls got home about 1 p.m., very hot. All right, had letter from Lillian, card from the group. Burl got home about 4 to 4. 4 to 4. Okay. Hot and tired. Sadie and Burl went for a walk. Did we think that Sadie was a child, right? Because Sadie had watched TV for the first time. Who was it? Oh no, we were thinking Hannah was a child. So I'm not really quite sure. But Sadie and Burl went for a walk, and Gertrude went over to Mrs. Cogswell's to see television. I sat out on Piazza to get cooled off. Something apostrophe Sadie and I apostrophe wrote to Archie. I got 1 dozen oranges from Mrs. Cogswell. So they wrote a letter to Archie. Hold on one second. Just had to get a little drink there. All right, I'm going to read a couple more pages because we're at 17 minutes. All right, so the 12th. Very fine and warm. Gertrude and Sadie did curtains and windows in living room. 5 pairs. Sadie washed windows. Gertrude washed the curtain and windows there. The 13th. Okay, we're going to read 2 more. Fine. Little cooler. Mrs. Nudd took Sadie and Ma to Hacklefield shopping. Left at 9 a.m. and back before noon. Very tired. I got box of strawberries for supper. Burl went up to Franklin Square for cream. Letter from Varna. Sent Ken and Jessie a letter, and she underlined it. All right, we're going to read one last page for the month of May, and so obviously there will be a part 2. Dull. Much cooler air, so refreshing. Looks like rain. Gertrude making rhubarb and strawberry pie for dinner tonight. Burl is making meatloaf. Ida, something is coming up to dinner tonight. Had invitation for we 4 to go into Boston for dinner tonight, but had to refuse. Sent Varma a letter, underline. Ida came for dinner and evening. Mrs. Nudd took Sadie and me to Melrose to finish our shopping. Okay. So she had to refuse, obviously, because Gertrude made pie and Burl made a meatloaf. So, all right, well, that is very busy, a very busy month, and how exciting. And let us put a little, what are these things called? I almost said a bookkeeper. A bookmark. If you've been with this video long enough and watched enough videos, you know I talk backwards, read backwards, and can't remember things. Anyway, let's close her up. Let's see if I can do it this time. All right, we're done, and I'll see you on the next video for the rest of May. Bye.